Fiora, my friend, what is going on this week?
Oh, I'm in my office space. So
that's exciting. How does that feel?
Very nice to no longer be crammed into a closet.
Yeah, you guys, the past couple episodes, we record over where I can see her over video, and she's got clothes behind her. Very neat, neatly hanging. It's a lovely closet, but yeah, it was funny.
Very well insulated, but not anymore. So yes, now I'm in my office space, and then we're prepping for ayahuasca ceremony this weekend. So cool. I'm on a very plain food diet currently, no caffeine.
How's that feel?
You know, I had some green tea, but I'm a little fuzzy right now. So.
And what about this eclipse energy retrograde nonsense fuckery that everybody's experiencing? How's it affecting you?
Just awful.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just having crazy dreams, and yeah, it's just a lot of dreams, and night sweats too, which is like not normal for me, but I'm like, I guess it's downloads of information, so just bring them to me, but also please let me sleep.
Right.
I'm tired.
Do you sleep with a fan?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Has it been affecting you at all?
Well, the heat, no, I was just talking about the heat because it's been like 90 the last couple days here in Portland, and central air just isn't a thing. It's, it's not a standard thing. And so, that damn memory foam mattress, and then the dog, who is his own little heating element anyway. It's been miserable. That's
what a lot of people don't get when they're shopping for memory foam mattress. If you are shopping for a memory foam mattress and you live in a warm climate, probably not a good idea, because those things are very hot. They get very hot. Yep. Although there is this company that sells like these. This is not an ad, by the way.
Right? Nope.
But if you want to sponsor us,
right? There
is this company that sells these cooling pads.
The bamboo cooling pads. I happen to have one.
Oh, this one's different. It actually has like a water current running through it. Oh. So you can set the temperature degree, and you can get either a single for yourself or a double if it's two people, so that each one of them can set their own temperature. It's pretty cool. So. Yeah.
Okay, I will check into that.
Yeah.
If there are any listeners out there who have any ends into getting sponsorship for cooling pads, we are both.
Mattress pad.
Yeah, we would both be happy to test that and then speak about that.
Anyway, so what do we have going on upcoming, Joe?
Well, journey through the major arcana. It's a 2-day workshop, June 12th and 13th, Saturday and Sunday. It's for 3 hours both days, so and it's early, so you can get it in and get it out of the way. You can find dates, class descriptions, and registration links on the classes and events page at thewokakashic.com. Just to touch on it briefly, I'm going to teach you the primary meanings of each of the 22 major arcana, and then I'll teach you how to use that as an oracle. It's just a reading that actually tends to be more of the big picture, but it also focuses on your spiritual journey. So it's a fun reading. So it's
very
a fun class.
Cool. I'm excited for that.
I am too.
And then you're still booking your Akashic readings too, right?
Yes. So one of the things that I'm doing is I'm asking permission from my clients when we experience extraordinary past life recalls or circumstances or anything like that within these readings, and I'm posting that in the group. But so much comes out of those readings. Seriously, if you are in need of aligning with your soul blueprint, finding out where you are on your path, where you might be out of alignment, what is causing you to feel stuck or unable to move forward, or you're feeling any number of other things, like you're supposed to be doing something, you just don't know what. And Akashic reading is seriously, it's the way to go to get all that clarity around that.
Yeah, I loved my Akashic reading with you. It was very, very helpful. So, and I also like the way you connected numerology with it too. That was very helpful.
That for me was it was like once I learned numerology, I was like, wow, this has everything to do with the soul blueprint. So it was the thing that connected the two, like the Akashic records and numerology, or the Akashic records, soul blueprint, and numerology. It's like a triangle.
Yeah. Very sacred geometry.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, before we get into today's topic, I did just want to mention that we are still requesting your feedback. We do want to know what you love about the podcast. Our upcoming giveaway is coming up pretty shortly. So make sure you get your Apple Podcast review submitted so that you don't miss out on the opportunity to get a $50 voucher for any of our classes or events. And those can be submitted, like I said, through Apple Podcast.
$50. I mean, we put on some pretty cool classes.
Yeah, like maybe you can get the Major Arcana in their class. So we'll see. And we'll have some upcoming classes posted pretty soon as well for over the next month and over July. All right, Joe. So what are we talking about today?
Today, we are going to dive into the very cosmic topic of Starseeds and Starchildren. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, this is. Does this come up with the Akashic readings with some clients?
Yes, but mostly it comes up in relation to someone's soul blueprint.
Okay.
Yeah, they want to know, well, what is my soul or my origin? The origin of my soul. And that's what a starseed is. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So let's give them just an idea of what is a star seed or a star child, just in general, for someone who maybe has never heard this term before.
Okay. So first, let's start with what the planet of origin is, and then we'll move into that real quick. So your planet of origin refers to the place of your very first incarnation. When that spark was first turned into, something other than energy. Now, soul origins are not mutually exclusive, and more than one may apply. Much like your clair abilities, you might have like 3 or 4 different clair abilities, or all of them like that. Soul origins are not mutually exclusive. Now, like, how come? What? Because if I'm telling you that the planet of origin refers to the place of their first incarnation, then that doesn't jive, right? So basically, what that means is there are souls on Earth whose first and only incarnation has been on this planet, but that's not the case for everyone. And so we'll sort of, as we get into that, hopefully that'll make more sense. It was that was what sort of set me down the rabbit hole. I'm like, wait a minute, what? So, all right. So, but a starseeds, they are beings in human form that are living on Earth, and they originate from another universe, galaxy, star system, or planet. Okay. And we're going to talk about, a lot of other traits and, what they feel drawn to and all of that stuff. But that's, in a nutshell, what a starseed is.
Okay.
Now, it's important to understand, too, that within sort of the umbrella of starseed, there's a bunch of different subcategories, and that's what we're going to dig into today.
Okay. And before we start to maybe break down the different categories of starseeds or star children, I did just want to mention an idea of what is believed of the reason why we have them, why we have starseeds or star children. So with star children, from what I've seen in the research that I've gathered, is they started at a certain time, right? They didn't incarnate on Earth until after a certain period of time. And it's referenced like a lot by Dolores Cannon, and she talks a lot about the reason why starseeds were brought to incarnate on Earth, or they volunteered to incarnate on Earth, specifically after World War II, because although we were supposed to have the science behind nuclear energy, we weren't supposed to use it to kill each other. We were supposed to use it for renewable energy. And since we took, this invention and the science, this technology, and used it to almost blow up the planet, they were, however you want to say, like the Council of Star Beings that essentially kind of like looks over us, just kind of watches what's going on, was like, hey, what the hell are you guys doing down there? And that's why you saw the rise in UFOs after the 1940s, right? Like Roswell, that was in the late.
They're like, you fuckers have done it now.
Like, what the fuck are you doing? I mean, we're lucky we didn't get put on timeout or something. They couldn't, because they couldn't do anything to us to necessarily stop us, because we have free will. We are the planet of Earth, and we have free will. It's one of the terms that was a condition of life here. So the only way to get us to shift, to adjust, to
stop being dicks,
to stop fucking killing each other, is to be influenced from within. So like each other, like only like you and I can influence each other as humans, and I can tell you to stop, although you still have the power to not stop, but I can at least be a person of influence on the planet and say like, hey, how about we try to talk this out instead of blowing each other up, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So that's the whole purpose of a starseed or a starchild, and then we can break down how each one of them kind of played a part.
How they play their part. Very cool. Dolores Cannon, she is a practitioner of the Akashic Records, correct?
Basically, although I don't think she ever actually called it the Akashic Records.
Tell me about Dolores Cannon.
So she was the hypnotherapist.
QHHT.
Yes, QHHT. Yes. So quantum hypnotherapy, hypnosis.
Okay.
And she essentially just had thousands of clients. And then she found, once she was talking to all these different clients who all did not know each other, she came to find that she was, once she regressed people far enough, she was talking to the same people. It was like she was talking to like their soul origin, I think is really what it came down to. And these people, these soul origins, were telling her all this information, and it was all the same information, although she was getting it from different clients. So she wrote just books and books. She had like 8 books typed up on a typewriter before like there were even computers. So it took a long time. Mm-hmm. It took a long time for her information that she had gathered to get out. But yeah, that's essentially how she works. She was not a medium. She was not a psychic or anything like that at all. All her work was gathered through her work in hypnosis with other people.
I had a QHHT regression about 8 weeks ago.
Oh.
And the name Dolores Cannon, I was like, yeah, I know who she is. But I'm like, wait a minute, what does she do?
Yeah.
Mercury retrograde, I blame it for the brain part.
Same.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Have we talked about regression and QHHT and all that fun stuff on any of our episodes?
We have. We've talked on it a little bit before, just about the different methods of being able to tap into your past lives.
Yes. Okay, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so we talked about it on the past lives episode, if anyone hasn't heard that one yet.
I feel like I have old person's brain sometimes. Like, I'm not making fun of memory loss or Alzheimer's. Don't be coming at me, people. But sometimes I feel like I'm old because I forget stuff. What?
What?
All right. So, soul origins. Okay. There are different lineages, all right? But there are several that are the most commonly known. You've heard of Syrian. You've probably heard of Pleiadian. There's Arcturian, which I am. That is my soul origin, is Arcturian. Arcturians, a lot of times, they become Akashic readers. And I can give you some examples of each one of these. So actually, let me start. So Syrians. Those are the ancient ancestors, and they come from the Vega and Lyra constellations. In the past, we've had ascended masters from the Sirius system come to Earth to help raise the vibrational frequency of the planet, such as Jesus and Mother Mary and, any other. All right, so that's Syrian. Pleiadian, they originate from the Pleiades. They're also known as the Seven Sisters constellation. My legs are tingling for some reason, and every single time people try to look up or seek information on the Seven Sisters constellation, it seems a little difficult to access. So I don't know, but I just love the name of it, the Seven Sisters constellation. There's something about it that resonates with me, and so I just need to figure that out. But Pleiadian souls come to Earth to be teachers to humanity during the time of spiritual transformation. So they could be likened to the Life Path 9, Life Path 7, and maybe Life Path 2. Just to back a little bit, Syrians, their energy to me feels like the master numbers. 33 6s, 22 4s, 11 2s. Then we have Arcturian, and Arcturians are a higher dimensional race of beings. They operate in the fourth and the seventh dimension, right? What is the fourth dimension? The fourth dimension is like alpha state, like mild meditation. Seventh dimension is, that's like full-blown, spiritual being.
Okay.
They're an ancient people, and they are renowned healers, like throughout the universe, right? Not just on Earth. They have incredible intelligence and are heavily invested in the Earth at the soul level. Those are the Arcturians. And like I said, the Arcturians are typically people who are Akashic readers or or maybe more easily access the Akasha. I don't know why. I do know that when I received all of my channels for the Akashic records, when I first learned it, they told me I was Arcturian, and they came through other Arcturians.
Wow.
So I was in channel. I wasn't going to argue. Okay. if that's what you say, I have no problem being an Arcturian. Right. The next one we have is Lyran, and the Lyrans descend from a feline species of humanoid from the constellation of Lyra. All right, now
I've heard of these.
You have, so grain of salt type of thing. You know me, I'm all like, that's illogical. I'm Spock or something.
Well, we have, you have the temples in Egypt, and they kind of look like lions. Look some kind of like felines. Yeah. I've heard that a lot of Lyrians are people who are Leos.
That makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. That's they come from the Lyrian.
Well, and they're also
lineage.
known to have a spontaneity about them and carry an air of wisdom and regal authority. Again, Leo. Yep. Many of the red-haired people of this planet are claimed to be of Lyran descent.
Did you know Jesus was a redhead?
Was he really?
Yes.
Like a ginger redhead?
Yes, so like a redhead.
Wasn't he, what was his nationality?
Ethnicity, nationality, where he came from. Yeah. It's because of where Mary's family came from. Like, I know, like, a lot of people think that he would have been like Middle Eastern, right? Because he would have looked like that because of where he was from. But yeah, there's this big old, if you look it up, there's this big old theory of that Jesus was a redhead, and he's actually depicted in certain oil paintings. I don't know if it's Da Vinci or who it was, but yeah, he's been depicted as a redhead actually several times. So,
that's why the gingers get so uppity. They really do sometimes, I think.
I personally love redheads.
Oh my God.
I've always loved redheads. So,
yeah.
A
sexy ginger with a beard, a little bit of gray in it. I'm like, hello.
I'm actually thinking of girls. I'm thinking of my favorite. I'm thinking of like my favorite, like all my favorite like singers growing up were all redheads. Like Shirley Manson of Garbage, redhead.
Oh, I love Garbage.
Florence Welch of Florence and the Machine, beautiful redhead. Yeah, so I've always loved redheads.
Okay, we both do, right?
Yes.
You're not uppity gingers. I'm sorry. You're creative.
Yes.
Okay, Orion. Did I talk about Orion?
No, not yet.
So, hailing from the Orion system, this type of soul is extremely practical. They act mostly from the mind, and they need to see things before they can believe them, right? I'm thinking Capricorn, Earth sign, Virgo. In their home system, they were at war with the reptoid races for many thousands of years. And I just love that reference, right? It's like, it reminds me of the cryptids, right? These crazy creatures that come out of like the swamps and stuff, and we talked about in our vortex episode. But being at war with the reptoids, it just makes me go yes, because listen, if there is life out there, which I believe there is, I definitely want there to be some sort of battling forces like Star Wars or something, or Battlestar Galactica, right? I don't have to support it. I can be like, no. war is bad, but still be like, I want to see a battle.
Yeah.
Let's see. Then the last one, they're called Draco. Draco. I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Well, Draco's like the Harry Potter, right? Like
Draco. Well, right, Draco Malfoy. Okay, so which this makes sense, right? With this description, you probably know them mostly as being evil, or think of them, right? I think it's the lizard race, like the draconian lizard race.
Oh, is that the same thing as reptilian?
Yes, then? There are factions of reptilian souls and soul families that are working together with humanity to raise the vibration of the planet. Oh, and it's like, wait, what? The reptilians? Many of them have been at war for millions of years, but just because you are draconian or Draco or whatever, that doesn't mean you have to be evil, or that you're bad. Because a lot of times people will say, "Oh, reptilians, they're bad people," right? You've heard people say that they can recognize a reptilian because when they blink their eyes, they blink. It's like a reptile, you know, like
like I know what you mean, like a shutter, a shutter closing.
And people will say, you know, that they can identify that or notice people that, which I don't know if they can or not.
Everyone's like, I always hear that it's the politicians are reptilians, which would kind of make sense.
It makes sense, right?
It would make sense, especially if it's somewhere like ingrained in their DNA that. And I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them, I'm sure. If it's ingrained in their DNA that they've been at war for whatever millennia, then they come here and they know nothing more than to start a war, than to go and fight, than to send people off to fight and whatever, because that's their MO. It's ingrained in them somehow, in their consciousness, that that's all they know how to react with, is killing each other.
That is a fine theory, my friend. A fine theory, and I am on board with it, and I support it. So, which one are you? If you don't know, if there's one that you guys are drawn to, you might be the one. Fiora, which one do you think you are?
Palladian, and I don't think you touched on it, but I've got an Andromeda.
Andromeda. It's not in the list, but I've heard of. I mean, obviously, I've heard of Andromeda, the star system.
I don't know who they are. Andromeda, Starseeds. Yeah, they're supposed to be freedom seekers, rebels, travelers. They make really good judges.
The sevens of the universe.
Sounds like it. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, so that's the one I've gotten that I feel like I personally resonated with the most. But Palladian is usually like my most, what is it? Like most common, I guess.
Yeah. Well, okay, so starseeds. Let's talk about starseeds in general. Now, typically, starseeds feel drawn to learn about metaphysical topics, spiritual subjects. They really feel a push toward this bigger purpose that usually involves helping others or doing, helping the planet, right? The humanitarians, the nurturers, or doing healing work in some form. The twos, the bridge, the mediator.
The bridge.
Yeah. And everyone on Earth has arrived at some point from somewhere else, right? But the difference is that Earth souls, which we will cover later, Earth souls have incarnated here hundreds of lifetimes again and again and again to balance karma, to learn new lessons, and increase the amount of light inside themselves in human form. Those are Earth souls. The majority of people, though, are Starseeds. They're actually coming here from other origins.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see now. A starseed, on the other hand, while they are still tasked to learn and experience, they incarnate primarily to share their light, share their knowledge, share their kindness, to help raise the vibrational frequency and then assist in that global ascension. I mentioned this before that children these days, many of them are being born without karma, and they are absolutely 100% starseeds.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So there's 3 type of starseeds. And listen, just, you can Google types of starseeds and you'll get returns that say there are 12, there are 10, there are 9, you know what I mean? But this is what I've narrowed it down to.
And this is Starseeds or Starchildren?
This is Starseeds. We're still in Starseeds because under the umbrella of Starseeds, then we talk about Starchildren.
Got it. Okay.
So Starseeds are they're old starseeds. Okay, those are the people that have been incarnating for thousands of years, and they have often had incarnations in Atlantis and Lemuria, ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, all of that, right? If I had to categorize myself, I would call myself an old starseed because I have had past life in all of those. And those, ironically enough, those are the eras that I'm most drawn to read about, learn about, and all that stuff. Many of those old starseeds are here now because this is a really, really exciting time to be on the planet, and their wisdom is valuable. It might suck right now. We might look and say, with all of the crap that's going on right now, people suck, Earth sucks, whatever, but it's actually really a very, really exciting sort of catalytic time to be on Earth. Old starseeds will often, advance spiritually in order to teach others and help awaken others to that higher state of consciousness. So that's what old souls, old starseeds, that's basically what they're here to do.
Okay.
There are typical starseeds, and they have been around like 100 or so lifetimes here on Earth. And they really do resonate with a lot of the characteristics of, the starseed, but they may not have those ancient ties, right, to Atlantis or Lemuria that the old starseeds do. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's just, experience, opportunity, that sort of thing. But they're still able to access all of that wisdom and expertise that they've gained over all of those lifetimes to help raise the vibrational frequency. And then there's new starseeds. And those suckers... They're popping up all over the place. They're not new souls, though. They're just new to Earth. And these, I think that these souls are some of the easiest to recognize because they have had very few incarnations here. They really don't do the whole human thing very well. They're like brand new, right? They are coming at this time, though, because humanity as a whole is making a huge shift into sort of that higher level of consciousness. Moving into what is it? The age of Aquarius, moving into 5D. It's like a really catalytic time right now, and these are souls. They have preferred to sort of stay in their high vibe, sort of like dimension until the time when they feel, okay, I can actually help bring a higher vibration to the sort of dense 3D, 4D energies. They're like, basically, I'm not getting in the pool until that water is like, screw you.
Yeah.
However, because the Earth is shifting, is in the process of shifting, to that 5D state, they're becoming much more compatible, and so they're coming in. Those are the ones with no karma, but they're also the people that have a harder time, I think, adapting.
Okay, yeah,
Adapting
that would make sense.
Okay, so the interesting thing about those new starseeds is that they feel as if they don't belong here, and they tend to be really empathic as well as very intuitive and very psychic. So very, very sensitive. Those people that struggle with maybe some mental health issues or some emotional issues or some processing, sensory overload, autism, all of that, right?
ADHD. I've heard this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, not a doctor, just speculating here. And then those that are here for that first time, or, they haven't been here very often, those, sort of new starseeds, they are the ones they feel like life is really harsh. It's like, they're just used to a much higher vibration, and they're used to unconditional love, and they're just not used to Earth and what it experiences. So.
Right.
Yeah. So that's typically starseeds.
Okay.
Fiora, how do you think we know if we're a starseed, or we have an idea that we might be a starseed?
So I think one of the things is if you've been called an old soul, those types of people.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a pretty strong indicator. People who seek wisdom, they're just like really into maybe like philosophy, ancient texts and ideas and history, just that trying to gather that old wisdom. People who feel like they don't belong here, like you were just saying, like I think that's a pretty strong indicator. You feel like you're like this is not your home.
Right. What the hell am I doing here?
Yeah. And also being like very intuitive and psychic. People who are the animals are naturally drawn to, like animals and babies are drawn to these people because it's the vibe, it's the energy, and in animals just automatically, like they know, like animals. That's why I'm like somebody that doesn't like animals, period. Like I get maybe like liking dogs over cats or vice versa. I get it, having a preference, but like not liking animals at all, I think that's a pretty big indicator of someone there's something wrong with them. Being spiritual though too, like the idea of like, yes, I believe in a higher power, but no, I don't necessarily believe it's like the way that it's being taught out of a book. And that feeling, that knowing that you've got like a big purpose, but maybe you struggle to identify what it is. I mean, because that's essentially the whole point of this whole thing. That's the whole point of being a human, is to figure it out, and you figure it out by trial and error. And that's what I think is kind of cool when we start getting into the different starseed children, the Starchildren, is how I feel like in the past we struggle to find our purpose, to like know what we're here for, to know what we're doing. Because that's kind of the point. If we got here and we just knew everything, then that's not even a test. What's the point of that? The whole point is that this is the school and we're learning, and so that's a test. So we can't give you the answers. So that also, I think people who value their freedom and they don't respond well to a bunch of authority. So I always think of that Timothy Leary of think for yourself, question authority. Like I remember, like the first time I heard that, I was like, yes.
That's the five. Absolutely. The five. Like, don't tell me what to do.
Yes, absolutely. And then seeing the repeating numbers, like you see your angel numbers all the time. I think that's also an indicator. But going back to the purpose thing. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I've noticed, I just know several people who are in their like early 20s, and I just feel like it's so weird. Like it's like almost like they've got it figured out to an extent, where I'm like, I didn't even know, like, what the hell.
My 20s blew. I wouldn't go back to them for anything.
I'm like, my early 20s, I was so lost. But I've met like several people in their early 20s who are like, they're just like doing it. Like they're acting like they're in their like late 30s, you know, the way that they're carrying on with their lives, which is really cool and really refreshing. So So yeah, so if you can explain how that maybe breaks down as star children, because I would love to understand that a little more.
Well, okay, so another category of starseed is indigo children. Okay, so it does get a little bit tricky because there's so much out there and so many different categories and subcategories. So what I tried to do was really just bring some logic to it, right? Okay, so indigo children starseed is what we'll call it, for lack of a better term. So indigos were the first star children to come to Earth to begin that transition to 5D. They've come with a specific mission, okay? And that mission is to assist in the ascension into the fifth dimensional energy. They were typically born between 75 and 95, but that's just a blanket sort of date because I've heard people that were born in 65 through 75 also considering themselves indigo children. So indigos, they do tend to come into this world with difficult challenges to overcome, with lots of karma to balance, or a major spiritual sort of pivot or growth or ascension in this lifetime, so that they can actually start taking care of business in the next incarnation. Like, this is a lifetime where you're like, okay, this is the one where you're meant to fix your shit. I totally believe that about myself, that this is the lifetime where I'm meant to just clear all that karma, or as much of it as possible. They do often, indigos have an inability to conform to systems. They don't like rules. They don't like to be told what to do.
That would make sense.
And they have an inability to form, or a challenge to conform or to implement discipline. Lots of soul urge fives, lots of them. Soul urge, life path fives, expression fives. But ironically, this is what will help them accomplish those goals. It's learning how to fall into line, develop discipline, start conforming to certain, systems and stuff, and that's what will help them. So that's what indigo children starseed are. That's the general term.
So that jives perfectly with Gen X and millennials.
Yes, you're correct. You are correct. Yep. And then to even start to go lower, or more recent in that whole generational labeling, I guess is what I'm going to call it. You have star children, rainbow and crystal. Okay. So basically these children, star children, they evolved to the third or fourth dimension of consciousness on their home planets. All right. So Pleiadian, they've been a Pleiadian, for as long as it takes for them to sort of be 100% in that fourth dimensional consciousness. They basically enter into a soul contract with the earth and others to initiate that collective shift in consciousness. We touched on that a little bit earlier. Now, these children have willingly taken a step down in consciousness in order to bring their gifts to Earth, right? So maybe they've ascended to the fourth, but they actually are like, well, I'm going to actually exist in the third in order to bring these gifts to the Earth.
That would make sense.
So as a result, human life, again, can be very difficult for them. And that's where that whole difficulty of being a star child or an indigo child comes in. But, once they begin to align with their soul blueprint, look out. Seriously, they will change the world in really magnificent ways. I'm wondering, I keep thinking, and my legs are tingling on this one, Greta Thunberg. I'm not sure how you pronounce her last name, but
Thunberg.
Greta
Thunberg.
feels to me like she is a star child, either a rainbow or a crystal.
Yeah, probably a rainbow because of her age. Okay.
Crystals came after the indigos, and their mission is to build the foundation for a new society so that we can all live in peace. Crystals were born between-ish 1990 and 2012, right? Again, ish, because there's so many different sort of... there's so much information out there.
Yeah.
Now, rainbow children, they are the latest generation of star children, and they pick up where the crystal children leave off. born after 2013, and that's where we're currently now. These children, they help us remember our divinity and connection with the spiritual realm while teaching unconditional love. Earth angels, people that you're just like, that child is of God, or of a higher power. Yeah. You just look at that child like,
yeah.
Once we align with love as a society, it is their sort of mission that we will successfully coexist with other humans and life forms on Earth, right? And so that the Earth can truly ascend, as far as, first we have to get the people to ascend, then our technology and our, all of those other things can ascend as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so this makes sense. So with crystal children would be like Gen Z, because Gen Z is that same category. It's the 90s to 2012. Yep. And then this last one of rainbow children would be technically, I believe they've been labeled Generation Alpha. Oh. And it's just, it all just jives perfect, because like what you're saying about indigo children and the struggles that they were going to encounter, that they were going to go through. I mean, millennials and Gen Zs were the ones most affected by the Great Recession. And we're the ones that like lost faith in the economic system and how capitalism doesn't work. And all of that. But then crystal children are the ones that they get it. Like Gen Z is like, okay, yes, millennials and Gen Xers are parents, but we can do better. Like, yes, it sucks and it sucked for you, but let's not be mad about it. Let's do something about it. And so they're the ones that are like, they're starting things off differently. Yep. And they're not letting things stop them.
Yep, absolutely.
Because they don't have the baby boomer parents to hold them back.
Right, they don't. They really don't. And it sort of is encompassed by the whole phrase where millennials and Gen Z and all of the others, Gen A's and stuff, are like, you can build that wall, but we're just gonna tear it down. Exactly. And it's like, like there you go. The children, they're. Our ascension as a race really is in the hands of our children. And,
yes.
A lot of people are like, the kids these days, they're pussies. And, I just get so mad when I hear that shit. And I'm just like, because they have empathy, you dumb fucking dummy.
Every generation has complains about the generation
bitching about us.
That's there to replace them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they complain. And then what do they complain about? They complain about our music. They complain about the way we dress, even though the way we dress is usually some like modified version of the way they dressed, or like a complete like F you, I'm never gonna wear that. But they sort of like, they didn't do that, with their silent generation parents and their uppity up in suits and all that stuff. Like, they rebelled against that too. So, but I mean, truly the point of every single generation is to do better, to be better than the generation before them. That is your goal. That is your purpose as a generation, as a whole, as a group, is to be better than the generation before you.
Agreed, 100%. Be better, do better, know better, see better, feel better, implement better. Better, better, better. Not better than, just better.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be a comparison.
No. Well, I have faith in our indigo children, starseeds, in the crystals and the rainbows and the indigos and all of that stuff. And as they mature, they fall into other categories, right? Because you're not going to be a 50-year-old person who was a rainbow who is still a rainbow child, right? Which, I mean, you technically are, but at that point, you need to settle into your role, right? There are earth souls, there are young and old souls, and there are light bringers, all right? And those are the categories that people settle into. Earth souls have experienced at least 40-ish incarnations. Wow. They've only incarnated on Earth, and they have a responsibility for human consciousness, but they really, really, really feel strongly connected to the planet. Earth empaths, geographic empaths. Their souls began here as very simple first dimensional beings. That's the energy of awareness. And eventually evolved into second dimensional beings, all sentient forms of plant and animals. And then after further growth, these beings began to self-identify and transition into third dimensional consciousness, which is human life, experiencing love and fear, divergence, and free will. And then, of course, they're born into those human bodies. Sentient forms of plants and animals are also, like insects and animals and stuff like that. I joined this really interesting group the other day, and I forget the name of it, but it was just like this random Zoom call that I found, and I'm like, I'm in.
Oh.
And the title was Life Between Life, okay? And I'm thinking, soul blueprint, regression, all that stuff. But it wasn't. It was based on it was like four or five people in there, and they were, all I could tell, very intellectuals. They weren't into mediumship or woo-woo or anything like that. It was all science, and they were all more like intellectual spirituality.
Okay.
But one of the gentlemen in there, I forget his name, but he was Indian, and he was raised in, I believe it's called Baha'i religion, and it's Buddhism, right? And then they have these 3 tenets, and it was very, very interesting. Foundationally, we all believe the same thing about reincarnation, incarnation, being born into the human body, but the rollout of all that is the difference, and that's where the diversity comes in, if you look at it like that, or where religious, persecution or beliefs or nonsense comes in. So the reason that I'm telling that story is that it sort of reminded me that some religions don't believe. They believe that when we die, if we don't reach attainment in this lifetime, then or if we have karma, we accrue karma, then we go back to the second dimension. I don't believe that at all. Once you've reached that level of ascension where you're a third dimensional being, you then have a series of opportunities until you get it right. There's no, what's it called? It's not like a debit system, or it's not, there's no, it's not punitive. But I thought that was really interesting because I was very respectful, obviously, of his beliefs and the other beliefs and stuff, but it was fascinating to hear what they thought about it. And it's very different.
Yeah, that's very cool. I do think that it is interesting how it is different people break it down, but I personally don't believe in that idea of some punishment place like after. Like, I think it's ridiculous. And it comes down to fear being control.
Yeah.
Like, if you are able to keep a population under this guise of fear of this thing that can come and punish you if you don't act right, I guess the flip side to that is, what would happen if everybody on Earth believed that there were 0 consequences in the afterlife for what you do in this life? Would it be a clusterfuck? Maybe. So maybe it's better. Maybe it's for the better that not everybody believes that. That maybe it comes down to the balance of the earth. I don't know.
That's such a vast topic, because then you'd have to get into, if that's the case, they're going to be taught that from the beginning. So they are going to, hopefully, we would, as a society, as the earth, we would teach the concepts of being a spiritual being, the concepts of reincarnation, the concepts of consequence, of decision, of creation. That sort of actually ties into this little blurb that I want to share at the end of the mission. This was something that I channeled, and so I'll get into that. But I was like, whoa.
Very cool. I did just want to. Did you have more that you wanted to add?
Yeah, there's 2 more. There's
this?
young and old souls, and I'll go through those.
Okay. Okay.
The Earth soul, it's a little bit rare to be an Earth soul. There's only around 25% of the people on Earth that are actually native, as native beings and stuff. And the remainder typically come from Pleiadian and Arcturian. So, Our young and old souls have experienced Earth arc incarnations that date back to Atlantis, Lemuria, or even earlier. They have lived, maybe tens of thousands of lives on Earth, dating back millions of years. Old souls have been around the cosmos many times, and their soul families may include many different races with off-planet connections. Now, young souls, on the other hand, they began their experience on Earth after the fall of Atlantis, which is about 11,000 years or so ago. And young souls are like bright-eyed children, discovering their newfound abilities and powers that they can't wait to test out. They can be ultra charming, but to them, everything is really about what looks good, socially, material, and financially, right? They are, those people. It's all about looks. It's about what you can experience and stuff. Again, young souls. And we kind of hit on these when we talked about this in another podcast. And then there's called the light bringers, and those are really interesting in that you'll notice a light bringer when you meet one. Like, you just know they're sort of those one-of-a-kind people. They're unlike anyone else you've ever been in contact with. They live according to their own truth. They open to their soul's highest expression. They're living free and freaky and doing what the hell they want. They live through their deepest desires. Light bringers make up a very small minority, and they're tasked with sort of shining their light by example, to show others, you can shine like this, you can do it. Light bringers do forget their true nature after birth in order to find their own unique way, because it's through that unique way that they then help raise the vibration of the earth. But honestly, these people stand out in a crowd. You know that light bringer. There are actually a couple more, but I'm not going to get into them. But as the Starseeds, the Indigo Children and Starseeds mature, they fall into one of those three categories.
Yeah, you know who I think is like an absolute prime example of that bringer? Is like Billie Eilish.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't understand how, well, I think she's like 18 now, like 18 or 19 years old, how at that age, like, you could have that much, like,
impact and influence?
The impact, no, the way that she thinks, the way that when she talks about things and the things that she shares about herself, and just the amount of intuition that she has, and both creative and introspective, like, it's phenomenal. I am beyond impressed by her. Cool. I think she's amazing, and I think it's so cool that that my child gets to, like, that's a role model that she gets to see. Like, that's really cool. Like, I think that's really beautiful.
She sounds like the absolute perfect, like, a light bringer. And there aren't that many, but wow, I mean, you just know those people. You're just like enthralled with them as a human being.
The only thing I wanted to add, just because I found some information on actual crystals to help each of the three different kinds. So since we all kind of basically break down into either indigos, crystal, or rainbows, whether we belong to one of them or probably have a child in, the crystal or the rainbow category. So crystals to support indigos are phenacite for your third eye, tektite for your intuition, golden labradorite to help you discover your purpose, and lepidolite for anxiety.
Lepidolite will help with that purpose as well. Golden labradorite is actually very rare, or it's rare. So if you find it, or labradorite that has a gold flash, that it's gorgeous. Okay, if you find a piece, let me know, because I want to make a piece of jewelry out of it, especially if it's a cabochon.
I'm gonna hit up my crystal girl and see if she can be on the lookout for me for some. Okay, and for crystal children, goshenite for your crown chakra, prehnite for healing, datolite for heart expansion, and apophyllite for telepathy.
I have some apophyllite. I love my apophyllite.
And then for rainbow children, it is, okay, I don't know if I'm going to say that right. Dumortierite?
Yep.
Dumortierite for your psychic abilities, sugilite for rest and rhodochrosite for anxiety.
Excellent. So I will say that many of these crystals are, I'm not going to say they're rare, but they're not mainstream. So these must be, wow, interesting. Phenacite. Did they tell you what phenacite was by any chance? Or did you?
No, what it actually is?
Yeah.
Phenacite?
Like, I've never heard of that
No,
one.
but
I want all of these crystals right now. I want to look at them. I want to see them. I want to feel them. Because
phenacite looks a lot like moldavite.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, phenacite looks a lot like moldavite. It is a silicate, so it is. Yeah, it's in the family of moldavite. What do you think about this moldavite trend?
It is a trend. It is a trend because, I mean, I got my moldavite 5 years ago. Listen, it's a thing. But let me tell you what. If you have a piece of moldavite, hold it in one hand and then also pick up a piece of tanzanite.
Okay.
Put or have somebody hold your hands out, have someone place a piece of moldavite in one hand, and then have them place a piece of tanzanite in the other hand. The floor came out from under me, and I was shook. I was like, what the fuck? I put the tanzanite down, and everything evened out, and I was like, shut up.
Oh.
Picked the tanzanite back up and boom, there it was again. And I was like, what? So it's really cool, those crystals that are from other star systems. They're what are they called? Asteroid crystals. All of those things, they do have a powerful energy on them. So moldavite's not to be trifled with. If there's a trend, I hope it's because we are ascending and there's a need for more individuals, because it does help you tap into and strengthen and ground in your abilities. It superpowers them, but most people are not supposed to wear it 24/7. I think I wore it 24/7 for like 3 weeks because I was like, it's going to become a part of me if I have to jam it in my own ass. Gross. But so yeah, try it. I think it's fun. Try it. Hopefully it won't scare people.
It's just, from my understanding, is moldavite is an amplifier. Yep. So it's going to amplify whatever's already there, and what was already going to happen, it's just going to speed it up. It's just like plugging it in. I will, though, post this list of crystals in our Facebook group, just if anybody wants to take a look at them, and because the spellings and stuff are weird.
That's a cool a list, though. I really do want to dig into all of these because I've heard of, obviously, labradorite. I've heard of lepidolite, prehnite, apophyllite, and then rhodochrosite. I have heard of dumortierite. I can't say it. You said it right.
Oh, dumortierite.
I've heard of that, but I think it was a different. Because these crystals, especially if these crystals are hard to find, there are other crystals that can help.
Yes, yeah. There's like equivalent.
Yes, I think these are probably more of the more exotic crystal.
Yes. So yeah, I'll post up the link. So I really want to hear your channeled message.
Yeah. So okay, I was just sort of typing along and making notes on the Starseed mission. All right. So I just got this really cool download. So I'm just gonna read the whole thing.
Okay.
So the thing is that we all have a mission or missions unique to us, right? We chose these prior to incarnation during this process of creating your soul blueprint. Some of us are here to help others develop intuitively. Others are here to help usher in higher energies, usher in and maintain higher energies. And some are here to break through old paradigms and systems, right? Everybody has a mission. The higher mission is then sort of broken down into purposes like healer, builder, seeker, creator, right? Doctor, that sort of thing. So how do you go about remembering what that mission is? Because, it sort of ties into the whole, what is my mission as a starseed? Why am I a starseed? So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to connect with your spirit guides. This is, I say this all the time, and I just can't stress it enough. Developing a relationship with your spirit guides is going to change your life 100%. Yeah. With assistance, through an intuitive development teacher or guidance or taking classes, joining work groups, all of that stuff. And practice. You can hone your ability to tune into your guides and have an actual dialogue with them. And I am completely serious when I say you will have a conversational dialogue with them. You can have that if you allow and practice with consistency. And honestly, this should be the goal of every incarnate being. The primary goal should be to have conversational communication with your spirit guides, because not only does it make seeking guidance that much easier, like it's just easier. You also begin to feel and see their personalities in more detail. And that's when it gets fun. And that's when it's like coming home to your oldest friends. Their mission is to help you remember your mission and fulfill it. That's their mission. So, they're always communicating with us, but we have to be in a close enough vibrational state in order to receive that communication. How do you do that? Again, learning, practicing, having conversations with them, calling them in, all of that stuff. Okay. Yeah. This is where the channel kicked in, right? Because I was sort of just, typing all of these things out, like, that's what this is. And then the channel kicked in. The channel says, a life incarnate isn't about spiritual growth through challenges and struggles. It's about intentionally creating your desired experience. It's about the mastery of that ability and what you heal, release, integrate, and balance as a result. It's about what you call forth and what you can accomplish. Feeling as if the road must be challenging and difficult goes against the very purpose of incarnation. You human beings are meant to desire and receive. Period. This is the mission of the incarnate. How you do that determines your experiences. And it's those individual experiences that are so sacred and valuable to source, because that is how we feed up as one. That's how we become one. Okay, so I want all of you guys to sit with that for a second. Sit with it for a second. That the mission of the incarnate is for us to desire and experience, because it's that individual experiences that are so valuable to source. Okay? Guys, source is a motherfucking MLM. We are the universe's downline. And that is like the best part for me. When I came off of that, I was like, what you mean to tell me? But that's absolutely what our purpose is. And so it makes so much more sense now why, once you do the work around it and you get into that phase where you manifest and you're like, I want.
Yes.
And it shows up. Boom. That's exactly what spirit wants. So a lot of times you think, well, I shouldn't do this, or I shouldn't say this, or, you're wishing for money to drop in your lap. Why? Because you want life to be that much easier. You just want to write a check, pay off your debt, and be good going forward. But then there's parts of us that say, I shouldn't. That's shame. I should, they have shame about that, or I don't deserve that, or, oh no, life has to be a little more, life has more lessons than that, right? For me. Yes, Spirit's like, well, if that's the experience that you want to have, we'll take it. We'll take any experience, but the primary purpose is that you're meant to desire and receive.
Amazing.
Isn't that cool?
Manifesting. Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Real quick, there's another one that popped in too afterwards, because they were like, well, now that we've got you, we're not going to stop. Basically, they talked about when people say that they're ready, They say, I'm ready. Where is my thing? I'm ready. I've been ready for years. I'm ready for love, abundance, wealth, and career. What they really mean is that they're ready for any lack or discomfort or disappointment in their life to go away. That's what you're ready. You're ready for all the shit that you don't want to go away. But the reason we aren't ready until we absolutely are, and why we don't have a ton of say in it, because of divine timing and divine order, is because the subconscious fear of getting what we want is the thing that also holds past life programming that can override or strongly influence in a negative way that desire for attainment. So that was something else that popped in, and I was like, shut up. What? Yeah. I'm going to write a book.
Yeah. That's why shadow work is so important, because then you can dig down to where your fears are rooted, and you can pull them out and be like, no more.
Because you want it, but you're really freaking terrified of what will happen when you get it.
And even subconsciously, though, a lot of times, because a lot of people are like, I'm not afraid of money. It's fine. Like, I want it. But are you, though? Like, it's not that you're afraid of money. It's maybe you're afraid of
what will happen when you get
quote unquote burdens that could come with it. Like, what's going to happen? Are people going to look at you different? Is your family going to all of a sudden, like, you know, want more things from you, etc. So like, it's the fear of the underlying fears, subconscious fears that you may not even realize you have until you do the shadow work.
That's shadow work, but also that's past life shit, baby. That is past life shit, and you got to move it out. You got to move it out. And so there's another opportunity for a plug to get yourself an Akashic reading.
Yes, definitely. Yes. And after you get your Akashic reading and you realize what your fears are, we can do shadow work together.
Do shadow work. You guys, if you didn't take Fiora's 1, 2, and 3 shadow work class, you really should. Or maybe she'll offer it again. I don't know. I'm speaking for her. She's right here. Like, she's not in the room.
I'm going to run them one more time at the end of this month. But these will be recorded, so then you could either attend live or you can just purchase the recording, because I did go through shadow work, just the basics, and then shadow work around finance and money and prosperity. And then the third one was we got into manifesting, because what's the point of doing shadow work if you're not going to use it to your best advantage? So
Exactly. And I will tell you, I've been doing shadow work for a very long time, and I learned stuff from her classes. So even if you've taken it before, like, dig into this, because it's I love the new and fresh perspectives. It's good stuff.
Thank you. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for sharing space with us today. Stay mystical, magical, and ready to do it again next week. Next week, we're going to take a look at
twin flames.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I know, people are like, yes, finally, twin flames.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a really cool topic, and we're going to check it out.
We're going to break down all the angles on this one.
Right.
So I'm excited for this.
You can find us on all the socials under Esoteric Podcast, and please join our Facebook group, the Woke Akashic. It's called the Woke Akashic Group, and in that you'll hear firsthand about our classes and events, as well as I like to post intuitive development tips, and we have funny memes, and people post really interesting questions in there asking for insight and help. And I also offer, or we also offer free monthly meditations for the moon, and just a ton more. So join it. It's a fun group.
Yep. All right, guys. See you next week.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening.
Bye.